Hello everyone and welcome to the show. This is FemiDlive. Are you ready for it? Well, the time has come when dark secrets of the world of politics will start to come to the surface. Are you ready? Brace yourself, because the shock, the news, the stories, and the unveiling of people that will do all that they need to do in order to get the advantage for who will become the 2019 president, governors, senators, House of Representatives, you name it, is about to start. Well, people will not hesitate to put themselves ahead of others if all it takes is to bring out some little secrets in the best way they can. The dirty fight for leadership begins. Welcome to the show. I am FemiD. Let's start off with a little bit of the conversation as regards what has happened in Nigeria in the last few weeks. Well, in the last few weeks, it has been interesting to see one of the biggest challenges in the 2019 election, for example, for the position of the president, did emerge. Atiku Abubakar, who had moved across a lot of parties in Nigeria. In fact, he had the choice to move as far as across 80 political parties in Nigeria. But this time, he has landed the political ticket of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who will be serving as the challenger, the biggest challenger to the All Progressive Congress party, which is the ruling party at this time, where you find the President Muhammadu Buhari leading the party as part of his own intention to retain power for the second time. But hold on for a moment, that's not all there is to be. Now, some of the biggest movements in the PDP before now had been some of the senators and the big names of the All Progressive Congress, one way or the other, throwing their mind and their weight behind what they would do and serve to do with the People's Democratic Party. Some of them even went as far as saying they are interested to becoming the president of Nigeria. But then, down the line, they did not get that ticket. Now, the biggest challenger, who some say is strategic in all ways, in all measure that you can think of it, in terms of his tribe, in terms of his location, in terms of his wealth of experience, in terms of his wealth, yes, wealth, in terms of money he has. A former vice president of the country, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is taking on the charge and the challenge of facing President Muhammadu Buhari, who at one time served as a military general in Nigeria. But then, the leadership of Nigeria, if it's so valuable, do the citizens value what comes with it as much as they value the politicians who are fighting for it are placing on it? The dirty fight for leadership is starting now. Atiku Abubakar during the week also named former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, as the vice presidential candidate which he would choose to run with come 2019. A move a lot of people say should be able to settle the sentiments and the squalors and a little bit of the irritation and ways in which the southeastern part of people of the country had been treated before now, and that should be able to settle it. And yes, some even say the reputation of the man, Peter Obi, also precedes what he brings to the table besides just being from the southeast. He should be able to bring the idea of good business, good governance, and the likes of it. A position that a lot of people are now saying, if you're to follow any debates daytime now, that would see Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who is the vice president at this time, first of all, with Peter Obi, one could find a very convincing conversation as regards what would happen to Nigeria next if it would go along the lines of the vice president. But let's talk about what could happen in the days to come. Is the leadership of the country so important that at all costs, all things that needs to be done will be done? For example, one of the biggest strengths of the likes of the challengers, the Atiku Abubakar and the other people in the other parties would have to be their wealth. Not just wealth of experience now, but their wealth. The wealth, the money they have accrued across the land. Well, the same money that is best interpreted by some school of thought and being alleged by others as being accrued off Nigeria in itself, that the wealth of some of the challenges of people who want to run the country had been accrued when they took the best advantage of the country at the time they led the country. At least so would have to be the narratives of the incumbent government, this time of the All Progressive Congress, saying possibly they would venture into finding out the means, the mechanisms, and how the administration of the wealth of the likes of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had been over time. Has he paid his taxes? Is there a corrupt case waiting that has just been sat upon carefully over time? will his wealth be his biggest weakness? That's another way of saying it. On the other hand, the challenger, the incumbent rather, President Muhammadu Buhari, is best described as the man who has no much wealth in terms of money allocated to him. But then, when you think about how he has positioned himself and the people around him, how they position themselves, it raises the question as regards much of his mandate around corruption, if he has been able to push it through. Recently, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari implemented and signed on to the Executive Order 6, which essentially puts a ban travel on about 50 people who one way or the other had served or led the country in one capacity or the other. And about 80% of that list, in fact, let me get the numbers now, 13 former governors and 7 ministers are listed who served in the opposition as one would serve, I find at this time. Is it just convenient to say the EO6 firm, which is the executive order on the banning of people who can travel or not travel, should have been implemented long before now? And what stops some of the people who are currently or who served in the All Progressive Congress, who have now been found of wrongdoing, such as the former secretary to the government of the Federation, from being enlisted on that list? Is this list really a way of fighting dirty against the opposition? Is it the way of making sure, for example, the opposition party, the PDP, and their associates and the clan of people that make it up cannot leave the country, cannot access any resource or resources or wealth that they may be looking to bring into the campaign for 2019? Is this a way to curb them clean? Or is it really a way to fight corruption? Those are my questions that I'm asking at this time. The dirty fight for leadership. Meanwhile, one would expect the likes of the People's Democratic Party as well to also train their own challenge against the likes of the All Progressive Congress and what they have achieved. Of course, the All Progressive Congress has taken out time. If our days and months ahead, they will be releasing a lot of what they have done, essentially to convince Nigerians that they have worked in the interest of the country. From the foreign reserves that they've been able to save, some say that's arguable, from the forex market that has been dwindling and going up and down and against the Naira currency that they've now been able to stabilize through the efforts of the CBN. And one would also want to venture into the food ban on some imported products that one way or the other are plighted our farmers over time. For example, the ban on rice, which has now kind of cleverly positioned Nigerian farmers to be able to make money from selling rice. And then one would also look at the roads that have been made, completed in recent times. So the dirty fight for politics starts with. One would also want to consider some of the statements that are being made, thrown in here and thrown in there. The Atiku spokesman, what's his name now? Sowore was speaking recently about what the All Progressive Congress are not done. And on the other hand, Festus Keyamo, who is Buhari's spokesman, did speak as well and say, hey, they have it all wrong. I mean, this clan of people that Nigerians may be listening to give the effort or to offer the position or to even consider by any chance that they want to run the government again if they are getting it right. But hold on for a moment. The dirty fight for leadership brings forward one essential emotion, and I'd like you to process this very carefully. In 2015, during the transition period, before the transition period, during the campaign period that had former President Jonathan face up with the current President Muhammadu Buhari, the sentiment was, among Nigerians and the citizens, was we needed somebody different. We needed to taste or to achieve a measure of someone who would do something new from what we had known. Someone who would propose new ideas, who would tell us that the current government is doing it wrong and he knows how to do it right. Someone who would fight for security, someone who would fight against corruption. Someone who, convinced of his status, would mean he would recruit the incorruptible clan to work with him. Why do I get the feeling that those conversations of 2015 and that may have set out the parameters of how we chose the leader that we have presently is the same parameters that are now being applied for or against him again? Are Nigerians going to vote based on the sentiments of we need somebody different? Yes, the current president is 70-year-old plus. The challenger, the biggest challenger is 70-year-old plus. We have younger people who are also trying to get attention. Same of the same they may be, some say. In fact, let me go the way of Banky W when he said, when you have a lose-lose situation, change the situation. Do we find ourselves yet once again subscribing with the sentiments and also loving the parameters of the idea of change being sold by people who came to sell change as changers, and the people who are saying we need to change the people who sold you change? Are you getting dizzy from the campaign trails that will start off? Watch out. Will you be voting the same way you voted before? The political secrets are about to start coming out. Whether it's on sexuality of some candidates, whether it's the affinity in some other areas, whether it's whether they're connected with leaks such as the Panama Papers, whether they're connected with travel bans or no travel bans, whether they're connected with people who are devious in their means, whether they will spend up to 1 billion naira as part of their campaign funds or beyond. The political secrets are ready to come out. The dirty fight for leadership is getting on. Would you be rubbed in? Would you get dirty? Would you be part of the process yet again? Thanks for listening in. This has been FemiDlive. Remember, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking on the button just below. Add your likes, your comments. Let me know what you really think about the situation in the country and the dirty fights for leadership that is starting out. Write to me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the other platforms you can find me. I like to read and write back to you as well. Let me know what you essentially think. And by the way, the audio podcast is available on Amplified Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, name it. About 20 other platforms. Feel free to listen to the audio version of this at any time. Thanks for listening in. I'm FemiD Amile.